And we are live. Hello, one and all, and welcome to this live special edition review for NXT TakeOver Toronto. And with me down this entire card, I have a special guest, my good friend, back again for another video collaboration on this channel. It's Mr. Robbie One Kenobi. Robbie, thank you again for joining me for this review.
Of course, my pleasure. You know, when you texted me earlier and said if I was watching the show live and would I like to do a live review, I had to do my best Stone Cold impersonation and go, oh, hell yeah!
Folks, as you can tell, I'm excited. Robbie's excited because we just got done watching 2.5 hours of enjoyable wrestling. It was glorious.
You mean there's a show that can go 2.5 hours and be really good?
And you're captivated the entire time and you care about the characters and the journey that they're on and just, what can I say?
Yeah.
Robbie, it goes without saying, these NXT TakeOver shows are truly special.
Yep.
They really are.
Yep.
So let's just get your overall thoughts on tonight's. How did you feel coming out of the show?
Once again, this just goes to show why NXT is a superior wrestling brand. I mean, 2.5 hours, a very good show to sit through, fun, entertaining. The crowd was on point. I loved just watching the show. It feels good to actually watch a wrestling show where the wrestling matters, the storylines matter. You know, it feels like a special event. You know, I loved the set they had tonight. It was a simple set, but it had a nice color scheme. It felt like a special event. And that's what I love about NXT, and that's what I wish the main roster would do more of. Make these events feel special. Make them feel like you're gonna watch something special. I loved it. I mean, NXT TakeOver Toronto, very good show. Definite thumbs up from me. And it's definitely the best show of the weekend so far. So Survivor Series, 4 hours or not, has a tough task ahead of them.
Well, don't forget, it's 6 hours tomorrow. We got that lovely 2-hour pre-show, which, folks, I don't know if you know this, but there's no pre-show matches. So what are they going to fill 2 hours with?
You know what? NXT has 30-minute pre-shows, and I think the main roster can benefit from that because look at how Mauro Ranallo, Charlie Caruso, and Lita made that pre-show feel. That pre-show actually felt like a pre-show. I love Booker T, but no, shook it, duck it, quack, quack it. It's gonna be the match. No, this was a legit pre-show that got you excited for the main card. Like, that's what I want. I think the main roster should just do 30-minute pre-shows where they hype up all the big matches and then go right into the main card. So, you know, everything NXT did tonight was great. I loved it. And I have I have a couple little complaints, but they're not like anything major, but I'll get to them when we get to certain matches.
Exactly. And I love that point you made about the pre-show, or even you could do an hour pre-show at the most. But to me, it's just a little baffling taking a peek at tomorrow. It's just, I'm worried. I'm not going to watch the pre-show because 4 hours is enough. I mean, I can't do 6 hours.
I'm passing that. I'm only watching the last 15 minutes when I sign into.
Or 15. That's plenty. Because it's just going to be the same recap videos over and over and over again. So no, thank you.
Can I just say one thing, Daniel?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see Mauro Ranallo, his energy and his passion tonight during the pre-show?
He looked so. I wish we got Mauro on NXT. Could you imagine? Oh my God,
dude! I tweeted this. I said, Mauro Ranallo's passion and energy is clearly evident. He should be calling NXT TakeOver Toronto tonight alongside Graves and Tom Phillips. And he replied to me with a fist bump. So that was a
really
honor.
He knows.
That was
I know he knows.
That was a huge honor for me. I love Mauro Ranallo. I hope one day we get him on NXT calling a TakeOver special with Graves and Tom Phillips. That's just awesome.
Can we talk about commentary? Because we're going to get into the show. But how about, I love it, on NXT. The entire philosophy of this brand is less is more. And we had a 2-man booth tonight. I love Tom Phillips and Corey Graves. They got good chemistry. You don't need a 4-man booth or a 3-man booth. It is a simple to basics 2-man booth, and they called the action wonderfully tonight. So kudos to them. I don't know if you know, like, I'm tired of 4 men and 3 men. It's just too many people at the announce desk. NXT gets it right when it comes to commentary.
Yes.
And I wish we'd see that on the main roster. And speaking of Martin All, I feel bad for him being on SmackDown now, stuck in a 4-man booth. I just don't think it's fair.
They don't need 4 men. Like, if you want to do a 3-man booth, have Tom Phillips replace David Otunga.
Sure.
That's a strong 3-man team right there. We don't need David Otunga.
No, he's awful and he adds nothing. I'm sorry. I can't be positive about him. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else, aspect-wise, production-wise. I just love the production of NXT. I love the lighting. I love the music. Like you said, it all adds to this realism, this just feels, as I said on Twitter, this felt like a wrestling show tonight.
Yeah,
Raw feels like an SNL parody of a wrestling show. I'm sorry.
Definitely.
I'm sorry. I mean, there's just a difference in tone and quality. And I know one day we'll see this on the main roster, but we know what it's going to take for that to happen. But anything else you want to say before we get into the actual meat of this review?
No, I just want to say, Triple H, thank you again for another very good and entertaining NXT TakeOver special. He was supposed to go live on Facebook, and I was looking for it. I didn't find it. But he knows what wrestling's all about. He understands what's best for business. Whether it's a pun or not, he knows what's best. And,
he does.
He and the NXT crew went out there and gave us another entertaining show. No, like I said, I have a couple little complaints, nitpicks, whatever you want to call it. But other than that, I love the show. No complaints. NXT can't go wrong. So kudos to all of them.
Absolutely. And speaking of, let's talk about how the show kicked off. Boy, oh boy, was this show glorious or what? The entrance of Bobby Roode with the singing choir was, to me, WrestleMania worthy. It was a great entrance. It left you with a great feeling, just like the crowd. I mean, I couldn't think of a better way to kick off this show. You knew they were going to be hot coming out of the gate. This was, to me, the perfect match. This is the match I thought they should have kicked off with, and boom. A nice card structure. You want to say anything about Bobby Roode's spectacular entrance? Because it was stunning.
I had a big old smile across my face when I saw it because I was like, oh my God, he's got his own choir now. It's like the first entrance at Brooklyn, he came from the he descended from the heavens. The second one, he's got a choir. The only other thing that I can think of that's going to top that entrance is if he has an entire orchestra. That was freaking no,
that will happen.
I loved it. Bobby Roode is awesome, man. I mean, I had a blast singing his theme song in NXT San Jose. He was so over with the crowd, man.
I mean, yeah. And Tye got a great reaction to. I'd say the crowd was split, maybe 60-40 in favor of Roode.
Yeah,
that's how
the Lex Man said in his predictions that he felt it was going to be a pro Bobby Roode crowd, that they were going to turn Tye Dillinger heel, that they were going to boo him. But no, Roode got a huge reaction from the crowd. Tye got a very nice reaction from the crowd too. So it was split, but I would say 60-40 for Roode. But I thought the match itself was a very good opener, very fun opener with a nice slow pace. They were going 100 miles.
They didn't go over the top and crazy and do flips and dives. They didn't have to do that. The characters themselves were compelling. The issue between them was good enough and set up enough. And you're right. It was a solid worked match that was set the pace for the opening. The crowd was invested throughout. And I thought Tye looked really good despite losing coming out of this match. I have to say, Bobby Roode got the win with a DDT. I'm so happy to see that because for so many years now, I'm tired of seeing a once great finishing move like the DDT being used as a transition move. And do you feel like we're getting away from that? I hope, because I want to see credibility and prestige restored to the DDT.
Yeah, it's great to see Bobby Roode use, that DDT, the execution, the impaler, whatever you want to call it. It's great to see him use it, because when you think of the DDT, you think of the master of the DDT, which was Jake the Snake Roberts. So that move, it laid guys out back in the day. I mean, if you remember back in the day when Jake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat were feuding, he hit Ricky with a DDT on the concrete, man. Yep. And that move is no joke. So, yeah, it was great to see Bobby Roode win with the glorious DDT. I thought, like I said, it was a very good opener. Tye Dillinger, I liked his aggression early on in the match. You know, we had Bobby Roode on the outside because you could tell he was personally offended by everything that happened between him and Bobby Roode. He was out for revenge. The pacing was nice. It was a nice slow pace. Dillinger had his moments in the beginning. Bobby Roode took over, and then Dillinger started fighting back, so I liked it. It wasn't like full speed. It wasn't like a mile per hour. It was great. It was a great setting or great pacing for the match. And yeah, you know, I said I wasn't ruling out a Tye Dillinger victory, but my prediction was Bobby Roode would win because I feel like NXT wants to really push him toward the NXT Championship, and he's going to get it eventually. I mean, with the rate he's going. So very good opener. Loved it. Crowd was great. You know, Bobby Roode trying to humiliate Tye Dillinger by doing the 10 and trying to do the tiebreaker. That was
great. I love that. I just love the way that Roode was throwing the 10 back in Ty's face. I mean, great animosity, great just playing up with the crowd. It was just good opener. You know, this is what I want to see in an opener. It sets the pace for the rest of the show.
Oh, definitely.
Because the opener can be very important.
Yeah, very important. That's the difference. Yeah. That could be the difference between having a good to great show or a shit show if your opener sucks. So kudos to both.
Sure.
Men. Very good opener. Tye Dillinger did look strong. You know, when he gets called to the main roster, I hope he goes to SmackDown, and I hope he does well. I hate having to be concerned for all my favorite NXT stars when they eventually get called up, but just use them properly, utilize them like they should be. But for now, Tye Dillinger, I want to see him have a good few more months on NXT and then eventually get that call. Hell, maybe enter the Royal Rumble as like the perfect 10 entrant, you know?
10, somebody said that on Twitter, so that's a great idea. I'd love to see that. And I'd love to see him on SmackDown, like you said. But anything else you want to add about this opener before we get into match number 2?
No, not really. I mean, I did take notes throughout the entire show, but not really. I just, like I said, very good opener. I really appreciated the pace of the match because it meant something. Bobby Roode's great. Tye Dillinger's great. And that was the perfect way to kick off the show with those two proud Canadian fighters going at it. And like I said, Daniel, the only way Bobby Roode's going to top this entrance is if at the next takeover he does like an orchestra. That'd be freaking huge.
We'll have to see. Like I said, just another way that NXT makes these pay-per-view events feel special is with the way that they treat their entrances. You know, it makes it feel like a big pay-per-view. You know, it's like, wow,
dude, with all these like, I don't want to say religious, but all these glorious entrances, like Bobby Roode's kind of painting himself like a god.
In a way, yeah. I've actually seen that out there on Twitter. So I don't know if they'd go that route, but it's kind of like a Messiah type level. I mean, hell, he's got a choir theme music entrance. That doesn't get more religious than that.
I know. When I first heard the theme song, I was like, huh, this is interesting. But it is one of my favorite theme songs, man. I mean,
it's the best in the business right now, I have to say.
Definitely.
Best, hands down. So let's talk about Classic Finals. The Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering suspended above the ring in a shark cage, which I have to say was different. I haven't seen that ever. Back at what was it called? The Battle of Atlanta? Was that where he was? I don't. I think that's what
they did it in an old school. I forgot if it was WCW or NWA.
Right.
But in the WWE, the last time they did something like that was I think it was Triple H versus Owen Hart, and China was suspended above the cage. But I know for sure in 1996 they did it. It was Undertaker versus Mankind at the Survivor Series, and it was Paul Bearer who was suspended above the ring in a shark cage.
Wow.
Yeah.
I liked it. And I thought this match between the Authors of Pain and TM61 was a good, solid tag match. You know, good action here. You know, I think the Authors of Pain are improving in the ring. Every time I see them, they get better and better. And they did exactly what I thought they would do in this match. You know, TM61 got a good amount of offense in on them, but in the end, they just simply, you know, weren't able to outmatch and overpower the Authors of Pain. And they fell victim to the last chapter as they hit that on Thorne for the win. So I picked the Authors of Pain to get the win, but there was one really nice spot. Was it who climbed up ever? I think it was up.
It was Thorne.
It was Thorne. Yeah. He climbed up on the structure. So they had like these two steel. What would you describe them as? Like
support beams.
Support beams, thank you. And he climbed up. Well, actually, he was on top of, let me get it right, Razar. And he got off of Razar, got onto the structure, and he dove off the structure, taking out Razar with a tope. That was definitely the spot of this match. And I liked it. Like I said, solid worked tag match. Made Nick and Miller and Thorne, they look good. They didn't get completely squashed. They put up a good fight. But the Authors of Pain, thought it was the right win for them. They completely dominated this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and it builds upon their momentum. And now we might possibly see them gun after. We'll talk about the NXT Tag Team Championship scene after this. But Robbie, your thoughts on this match?
It was a good, solid match. The highlight to me was Shane Thorne doing that cannonball or tope off the support beam onto the Authors of Pain. That was insane. That was a holy shit moment. This was a good, solid match. I do like Authors of Pain. I like how Paul Ellering has that kind of like that, not menacing, but he's got that stern look on his face. Because he's leading his I don't know what to call him, his enforcers to battle. I think he's perfect for them. And yeah, like TM61, they put on a strong performance. I was impressed with the fact that they were actually able to lift Razar up for Thunder Valley. I was like, no way.
Yeah. Wow.
No way they're beating them with that. And the whole idea of Ellering being in the cage was to prevent him from interfering, but in the end, he threw. Well, what's funny? He threw down a chain to.
He did.
To Akam, to Akam, and Akam was gonna try to hit one of the. I think it was Shane Thorne, and Shane Thorne countered, and that freaking chain went flying into the crowd.
Yeah, somebody might sue.
But yeah, like you said, Authors of Pain being built up like strong, unstoppable monsters. They're pretty much.
They're undefeated.
Yeah,
I believe they're still undefeated.
Throughout this tag team tournament. And for Paul Ellering, this has to feel good because they brought up his friendship with Dusty Rhodes, so that has to feel good.
Yep.
Won it. I actually picked it. I actually predicted it was going to be TM61, but I mean, Authors of Pain, they're the next big thing in NXT in terms of tag teams. And yeah, you got to believe Chapter 3 is a tag team championship reign. So good, solid match. TM61, I like them. I saw Shane Thorne and San Jose against Roderick Strong. Hell of a match.
That was a good match.
Yeah, that was a hard-hitting match. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what's in store for both teams. But yeah, the second annual Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I want to see this tournament come back, and I want to see every year a new team win it, a new fresh young team that they're establishing, or a veteran team depending on who you have. I haven't watched your Q&A video, and this is a question I asked you, and I know eventually I will watch it and you'll answer, but just going to ask anyway. If Hideo Itami and Austin Aries hadn't got injured, do you think it would have been Itami and Ibushi, Aries, and Roddy?
In the finals, I could have seen that.
Yeah.
If that was the direction they were heading in, because I was thinking either that or a strict one-on-one singles match between Itami and Aries, because I knew eventually, they were feuding, but that would be a good way to continue the feud and have it as the finals. Yeah, I actually think that's what it would have been. Yeah. But we're just the injuries happen, whatnot, but that would have been one hell of a match. I know that for sure.
The damn sure would have. It's just a shame that Austin Aries and Hideo Itami got injured when they did. That their injuries came at a very bad time. I mean, yes. Austin Aries' injury came 2 nights before NXT San Jose, and his eye was all.
It was bad.
It was bad, yeah. But yeah. Other than that, like I said, good solid match. Looking forward to seeing what's next for Authors of Pain. This isn't the end of TM61. I think they're still a strong tag team. Eventually, they'll get a shot at the tag titles as well. So yeah, another successful run of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I think this is a great way to honor the American dream. And like I said, I hope to see more young tag teams win it in the future, and maybe every once in a while a veteran tag team on NXT win it, especially like a veteran tag team that may have had that big influence from Dusty Rhodes. That'd be great.
Exactly. So, are you ready to talk about the match of the night?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Because, folks, this 2 out of 3 falls match, I called it. I knew going into this pay-per-view. Did you have the same feeling, Robbie, that this was going to be the match of the night? Because I knew.
I had a feeling this was going to be the match of the night because their first match in Brooklyn was great. Revival had an incredible 2 out of 3 falls match with American Alpha on NXT TV. I had a feeling this was just going to be one tag team booked tag team match for the ages. And my God, this was not only the best tag team match in NXT this year, this is one of the best matches of the year. It was just incredible storytelling, edge of your seat action. I was just, oh my God, man. It was an incredible match. I gotta do this.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I don't think our words can do justice. Go watch this match if you haven't watched it yet. There was just so much action and great selling and great near falls and just a nice pace. And the crowd was captivated. I was captivated. I was screaming like a lunatic at my TV. I wanted Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, got his name right, to win championships. And yes, somehow, some way, despite everything that the Revival tried to do, they tried every little trick in the book. Gargano and Ciampa were able to make both Dash and Dawson tap out and win the second fall in the match. So it was just, it went all 3 falls. It was a great ride. Like I said, these words do not do it justice. It was just, wow. This is tag team wrestling at its finest. And these are 2 of the best tag teams in WWE today. I said it at my Q&A video, and this further re-cements it. This was definitely, I'd have to say, better than their match in Brooklyn. And I thought that match in Brooklyn was the second best match of that weekend. Narrowly beaten by Styles versus Cena. So these 2 teams, they just have a tremendous, tremendous chemistry. And I'm just very happy for Gargano and Ciampa to finally, climb the mountain. They always came so close, but they looked like they were going to get knocked all the way back down. But this time, they were able to throw it back in the Revival's face and are the top guys now.
Yep. The ending to that match was very emphatic. I loved it. That was just a great original ending. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, after a series of like near falls with Dash Wilder, gets Dash Wilder in the cross face. Scott Dawson attempts to intervene. Tommaso Ciampa tackles him, gets him in the inverted armbar. You have the Revival in the middle of the ring. Dawson trying to grab Wilder's hand to prevent him from tapping out. And in the end, Wilder taps out. That was one of the most emphatic finishes I've ever seen in a wrestling match. I mean, you couldn't have a better ending for Gargano and Ciampa than that one right there, with the Revival in the middle of the ring, nowhere else to go.
Nope.
That's wrestling and storytelling at its best, and that's what I want to see from the main roster more often. Like, just watch this match, appreciate the storytelling, appreciate the performances, appreciate the athletes, and you'll see what's wrestling and storytelling at its best. That 2 out of 3 falls match, wow, that was incredible. Yes.
I want to watch it again, and I will. That's how damn good it was.
Yeah.
Man. Just like,
I gotta say, the Revival early on were just, I love how dominant they are early on in matches. The way that they scored the first fall, countering the slingshot spear into a shatter machine. Holy shit, man. That was awesome.
Nice. Whoa, man.
That's why Revival, in my opinion, is like, they and Gargano and Ciampa are the top teams in NXT. But if you want to talk about a legit top team, the Revival. I mean, things like that make them the top guys. Even though, of course, Gargano and Ciampa have the championships and they're now the new top guys. I mean, that was awesome. Just the little things we saw throughout the matches. I mean, it took DIY a few minutes. It took them a while to get a fall after the Revival scored the first fall, and that's what made this match great. Just the storytelling. We'll hashtag DIY get a fall, or will they fall without even scoring one pinfall? You know what I'm saying? Will they fall 2-0? It was just, I loved it. It was awesome.
Robbie, in this match, did you feel that maybe there was another route that I thought if Gargano and Ciampa didn't win, I saw the potential storytelling of maybe they would have Johnny take the losing fall, and that's where Ciampa would turn on him. So I was also thinking that might happen as well. So I didn't really know where this match was going to go, and I was loving it. I hate when it's predictable, and it's usually so obvious. It's like, I know exactly who's going to win. It's like New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus. We knew New Day has to retain to beat the record. In this match, completely opposite. I'm like, they could go this way, or they could go this way, or this could happen, or that could happen. I don't know what's going to happen, and I loved it.
Yeah, definitely.
Loved it.
You know what? There was a moment when Tommaso Ciampa got the hot tag, and Johnny Gargano's on the outside trying to recuperate, and Ciampa screaming to him, "Get up, come on, get up!" And right there, I was thinking, "Oh shit!"
Wait a minute.
They lose 2-0, then that's
it.
Incentive for him to turn on Gargano and just beat the hell out of him. Like, I was concerned, I was scared because like I don't want to see hashtag DIY break up yet. They're a great tag.
No.
You know, Revival. There was this moment in the match where they hit a European uppercut German suplex combo. That was original, dude. That was great. And that's another testament to how great the Revival are as tag team wrestlers. And then this was the moment where I just screamed out loud because it was an awesome moment. I couldn't believe this. You have the Revival in the corner. They're trying to do the Team DIY's finisher on Gargano. They miss.
Yep.
What do Gargano and Ciampa do? Shatter machine.
They do their. Yep.
That was incredible, man. That was just like, I screamed out Shatter Machine because I'm thinking, oh my God, they're gonna beat the Revival.
They're gonna beat them with their own move.
See, that's what I love about wrestling. When it leaves you on the edge of your seat with compelling, moments like that, compelling storylines, storytelling. I loved it. And the whole time I'm saying, why can't we get more of this on the main roster? Why can't on the main roster?
Yeah, why can't we? I don't get why we can't. It's just
things like that. We'll see times where like one guy on the main roster will do the other guy's finisher. But I mean, I felt like it was so much more meaningful and emphatic when it happened here with Revival and Gargano and Ciampa. The fact that they hit a Shatter Machine and could have beaten the Revival at their own game with that move for the Tag Team Championship. That's like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And it was just incredible from there.
Indeed. What do you want to say about this epic Tag Team Championship match?
Match of the night, 4 3/4 stars from me. I mean, it was just incredible. If you guys want to watch an incredible tag team wrestling match, go watch this. I think even having lost the tag team championships, this match is, to me, the point where it solidifies Revival as the NXT Tag Team of the Year, just because they had incredible matches. They were just the best tag team of the year. I can't say anything else. I mean, top guys, whether they're champs or not, top guys. So that was an incredible match. And kudos to all 4 men. Like I said, round of applause to all 4 men. Incredible match. Incredible match.
The show. And
match of the night. Match of the night.
And it was hard to follow this. After this, we had Asuka versus the returning Mickie James, and it was great to see her. But I thought the crowd, they got back into this match. I was worried. Would there be crowd fatigue, coming off the match of the night, going into this next match? And it was a match I was certainly looking forward to. I thought it was a good match between Asuka and Mickie James. I just love the mind games that were played between both of these, female athletes. Asuka continuing to go on as undefeated in NXT, and Mickie James, being a veteran in her own right. She knows how, to go into that ring and win championships. She won at WrestleMania. Isn't she a 5-time women's champion? So she knows how. I just love the little facial expressions. Didn't Mickie blow her a kiss during the match? That was funny. I mean, Asuka was like, okay. When Asuka was knocked off to the outside, and then Mickie was goading her to come back in, Asuka ran right in there. And the thing that really surprised me, I knew Mickie was going to lose, but it was once Asuka got her locked in with the Asuka lock, Mickie, man, she tapped fast. I was like, whoa, okay, that's it? I mean, it was just like, wow. She really didn't have her locked in there for that long. So, Asuka retains. No surprise here, but I thought it was a solid worked match, and it was great to see Mickie back. Hopefully this leads to one more run for Mickie on the main roster, but Asuka's undefeated. Robbie, your thoughts?
Yeah, that match had the most obvious prediction. Asuka was going to retain. I didn't see Mickie winning the championship from Asuka, but Mickie, from the first time that I've seen her in the WWE ring, following her work in the independents and in TNA, she looked great. She's in great shape. She took the fight to Asuka. I thought it was a good women's wrestling match. I like how they tried to like one up one another. You know, Mickie extended her hand and Asuka shook it, and then Mickie pulled her in, and how they held ropes open for each other. You know, Mickie was letting Asuka know, you may be this lethal fighting machine, but I'm not intimidated by you. She took it to Asuka, and I thought that made for a good women's wrestling match, a good championship match. My only complaint with this match is the ending. I mean, like you said, we knew Asuka was gonna win. I just did not expect Mickie to tap out that fast. I thought it would have gone maybe 5-7 more minutes. Maybe Asuka would have knocked Mickie out with a kick like she did to Bayley, but it just ended so fast, and I was like, that's it. Like that was one of my little nitpicks with the show. Well, actually, yeah, I only had really one nitpick, and that was how fast that match ended. That's my only complaint. But other than that, I thought it was a good match. I felt like it could have been a little better if it was 5-7 minutes longer. But the ending, I like the ending where Mickie James extended her hand to Asuka, and Asuka just raised her title in the air, and you heard the fans boo her, and she had that little smirk and grin on her face, and that was just Asuka pretty much establishing herself as a heel and saying, once again, no one can beat her. So that's great because Asuka's awesome.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Because she's undefeated, so naturally she's going to get a big ego, and, you know, eventually, you know, it reared its ugly head, like you said. Glad you made the point. I was going to mention the fact that Asuka snubbed Mickie, not shaking her hand, and I like that. That just, to me, makes sense for what Asuka would do as, you know, a character, and where she is headed next. You know, I think would be a showdown with Ember Moon. I think that would be the next logical path for Asuka. And like you said, we'll probably slowly see her transition into a heel. It started here, and I'm all for it. To me, it just naturally makes sense for the progression that she's headed down. That's what I love about NXT. We can see where they're going, and we're excited for what, you know, the next long-term destination is. You can tell they have a plan for what they want to do with Asuka, and kudos to them for carrying that out. I love it.
No, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing where Asuka goes as a heel. I think it's going to lead to her becoming a lot more aggressive, lethal. Yes, very dangerous. It's going to get to the point where, as a heel, she's just dangerous. No one wants to get near her. You know, like, she's going to be that very intimidating force, and then someone like Ember Moon's going to step up and challenge her, and that could ultimately be Ember Moon's transition into NXT Women's Champion. So I'm excited. We'll see who challenges Asuka next, other than Ember Moon. But from a storyline standpoint, I feel sorry for any women on the NXT roster, because if Asuka if her ego really gets the best of her, she's going to just be this unstoppable machine, and she's going to be the most intimidating force in the women's division. So, good match. Kudos to Mickie James. Great to see her back in the ring. Would love to see her maybe have a match at WrestleMania, or maybe a match at SummerSlam. You know, one more run would be nice with WWE before she retires. Could you see, Daniel, maybe her going into the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 33?
I think it's soon for her to go into the Hall of Fame. I think she would have another run, and then after that run is done, then she could go into the Hall of Fame. Maybe it's after 34, maybe 35, but she's going to go in. But I just think it's a little bit too soon, because I think there is one more run on that run could be. But she looks in tremendous shape. Who knows? Maybe she could go another 2 years. We don't know. But that's when I'd say she'd go into the Hall of Fame. But she definitely deserves to be in there.
Oh, yeah, because she looked great tonight. You know,
oh, my goodness. Tremendous shape. She never lost a step. You know, she's how old is Mickie James? Does anybody out there know? I mean, 40s?
No, I think maybe here I can look it up real quick. I think she's like 36, maybe 35, 36. Let me check.
Wow. Okay, I thought she was older than that.
37 actually.
37. Okay, she still looks really good, I have to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I'd love to see her tear it up with Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte. You know, Becky.
Yes.
Naomi. Oh, there's just a ton of great talent.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss, I'd love to see her on either show, you know, wherever they need her. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, congratulations, Mickie James, on a successful return. Like I said, I thought she looked great. And just one more run, even if it's like a 6-7 month run, just would love to see it. And yeah, just see her mix it up with some of the best women on the main roster, or maybe even mix it up with Ember Moon. before any obligations on the main roster. But yeah, great to see Mickie back. Love Mickie. I met her last year at WrestleCon. Very nice person, very cool person, and yeah, just happy to say that I've met her, and it was great seeing her compete at NXT TakeOver Toronto tonight.
Nice.
All right.
All right then, Robbie, it is time to discuss and talk about this surprising main event. It was Shinsuke Nakamura defending his NXT Heavyweight Championship versus Samoa Joe. Battle number 2 between these two behemoths. The King of Strong Style going up against the Samoan ass kicker himself. And I have to say, Nakamura, another great entrance with the violinist coming down. It's just another great touch, and the lighting. Don't you love how when this is the main event, you know it's the main event, because on this show they focus all of the lights, and that's what all the focus and attention on. And it's the little things like that that truly make NXT stand out from the main roster, because we don't even get that on the main roster. You know,
exactly.
just those little touches. So kudos to them. I love when they do that.
If I can just say, Nakamura's entrance is a thing of beauty. It's something that you have to actually be there in person to experience.
Yes.
I personally have experienced it at NXT San Jose. It was epic. It felt like a once in a lifetime event, so to speak. I mean, he's a freaking rock star. To sing along with the crowd, along, you know, with his theme song, it's an awesome experience. So Nakamura, you know, he had one violinist at TakeOver Brooklyn. He had a bunch of violinists this year. I think it's only fitting that at the next TakeOver, or when he's at WrestleMania, that he gets a full orchestra too.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's just only a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. But this match was a good match. Continuing the theme of this show, there wasn't a bad match on this show. Just another really hard-hitting physical match. And I don't know if you guys noticed, well, I'm sure you guys did, but when Joe got busted open towards the end of the match, I didn't see how it happened, but did anybody else get worried? I was like, uh-oh, it's near the eye. And I thought, please don't stop this match again. I was so worried that we were going to have a repeat of what happened. That was Joe and Balor, I believe, correct?
Oh, that was I hated that. That was Joe and Balor. They kept stopping the match, and the crowd was pissed off.
I thought, you know, that's what was going to happen, but then I saw it wasn't as severe. But the blood, you know, it added to the match. It just made Joe look like even more of an unstoppable beast. But these two, you know, they just went to war with one another, just kept picking up and up and up. I really like the fact that Joe low-blowed Nakamura and then hit the Uranagi suplex on the steel ring steps again. And keep in mind, the ref did not see the low blow. And that's when Joe hit the muscle buster, I believe for the second time in the match. I could be wrong. Or that was the... Okay, thank you. And 1, 2, 3, Robbie, we have a new NXT Heavyweight Champion.
You know, I was a little surprised, but, you know, I started thinking, well, part of this came from after watching the Lex Man's prediction video, that there were some people that said they want to see Joe win the belt back because he's such a great heel. You know, they felt like his title reign was too short. And I picked Nakamura, but I wasn't ruling out a possible shock finish with Joe winning back the championship. And how he did it was awesome. He low blows Nakamura. Then he hits him with the Uranagi on the steel stairs, which is only fitting because that's what put Nakamura out for a few weeks on NXT. And then he drills him with the muscle buster. I was shocked, but I was like that shocked look where like you laugh, where like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And the crowd was shocked. The crowd reactions were great. Joe is a 2-time NXT champion, the only 2-time NXT champion, I believe.
That's true. Yep.
One, it was perfect. I think the Uranagi on the steel stairs, followed by the muscle buster, was the perfect way for him to punctuate a title change. You know, that was perfect. And it goes back to when Joe put Nakamura on the shelf with that move. So that was perfect. I have no problem with Nakamura losing the championship because he was a great champion for as long as he held it. Yes, this is his first televised defense because he's defending it on house shows, of course. But still, I mean, Nakamura.
And his first loss on the NXT roster as well, I believe.
Yes, he's been his own undefeated streak broken by Samoa Joe.
Wow.
So, yeah, that only means one thing now, Daniel. Rubber match.
Oh, man. I don't know when that would happen. I mean, unless they have a takeover before the Rumble, which they might.
Because they're doing the NXT Japan, and they're going to film some stuff, but it's not
maybe. Yeah, that would
probably be a Royal Rumble weekend. NXT TakeOver San Antonio, which I think would be great. Save it. Save the rubber match for NXT TakeOver NXT TakeOver San Antonio, because could you imagine, Daniel, if they had only 2 weeks to build up to that match? Like if there was 20 takeovers a year, it wouldn't feel the same.
No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. It would feel too rushed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now for me, I thought this was another great match. Yes. I think the TakeOver Brooklyn match was a little better because it had a little more of a big fight feel. But what's funny is I feel like this match had the better build with Joe assaulting Nakamura, Joe demanding, Regal either give him Nakamura.
Regal! I love what he says.
Regal! Bring me Nakamura!
Oh,
bring me my NXT title.
It gets every time. It gets more and more deranged. I love it. He just became unhinged. It's twitching of the eye thing. I love it. Joe is the best heel in the company.
And I feel like the blood makes him even more dangerous.
Yes.
Dark.
Yes. So, a little color goes a long way.
The blood makes Samoa Joe more dangerous.
Yes, it does.
Yes. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was a great match. I like how Joe was working on Nakamura's legs early on. He kicked him in the thigh. He did the Boston Crab. He did that like not the cannonball, but that roll move that knocked Nakamura down like a chop block. I love it. It was simple little things like that that added to the match and that made it, a great match. And Nakamura with that Kinshasa to the back of the head while Joe's head is hanging on the ropes. That was sick. And Joe doing that 3 suplex combo, the German suplex, the dragon suplex, and the straight jacket suplex. That was great. It's little things like that from NXT that make their matches great and that make things matter and stand out,
I agree, Robbie. I agree.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to say about this match before we get into our grades for this show?
No, just, I hope their third match has a stipulation. I felt this one should have had a stipulation, but
it should have.
If the title change, but if the title change was the whole plan, then I feel like if it's last man standing, steel cage, no holds barred, or even a ladder match, then it's gonna make that feel even more special. That's what I like about NXT. Their stipulation matches mean something. The 2 out of 3 falls match. Wow, I definitely want to go back and watch that later this week. I mean.
Yes.
That really meant something. That was the last chance for Gargano and Ciampa, and when it came down to it, they persevered, and that one fall made the difference.
Unreal. Just still, I'm taken away by that match. It's just that damn good, folks. All right, great time. This is the part of the review where we give our respective grades for this show. So after much thought and deliberation, really didn't take me long to come up with this grade. I'm going with an A- for tonight's NXT TakeOver Toronto show. Robbie, what grade would you give this special?
Grade-wise, I'd give it a B+. But since I use like out of 10 scores, I'm giving NXT TakeOver Toronto 8.5 out of 10. Could not think of anything. Could not think of a better. I could not give it an 8.25 out of 10. I feel like 8.5 was a very strong score for it. Just a very good show from start to finish. Even the 2 matches that I gave 2-star ratings to, they were still good, solid matches. I just wish, again, the women's championship match went a little longer, because I feel like they could have done some better stuff with it. I feel like, Mickie could have had one last run and Asuka could have just knocked her out with one of those lethal kicks. But it doesn't take away from the show. Still, like I said, very good show, entertaining. And within 2.5 hours, NXT, they put on another entertaining show. And, it was fun to sit through. Crowd was great. And now I'm excited to see how things play out from here. because there's a lot that we can take away from NXT TakeOver Toronto. What's next for AOP? What's next for TM61? What's next for #DIY? And what's next for Joe and Nakamura, you know, and what's next for Bobby Roode? So I love it. No complaints. Another great night for NXT.
I couldn't agree with you more. I love coming out of these shows so happy and elated. And you're right. The future looks bright for NXT as it always does coming out of these shows. So I look forward to what the future has in store. So that is it, folks. That concludes this NXT TakeOver Toronto review. Robbie, before we go off the air here, you can always get in that plug for your channel.
Thank you. Well, actually, Daniel, I want to say one thing real quick about this show before I go plug my channel. What I really liked throughout the matches was that certain superstars utilized trademark maneuvers from popular Canadian wrestlers. Tye Dillinger went for the sharpshooter in his match with Bobby, was wearing pink and black. The Revival were wearing pink and black. Tommaso Ciampa hit the German suplex trifecta a la Chris Benoit. Gargano blocked in the crossface. I thought that was so great how a few of the NXT superstars were paying homage to the great Canadian wrestlers of years past with all those moves, including Benoit with the suplexes and the crossface. I thought that was great. And it's little things like that that make me appreciate NXT and that make me appreciate wrestling because it pays homage to those.
The history of this business.
Yes, that's something that I thought was great. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out real quick before we went off the air. Thank you, Daniel, again for having me. It's always a pleasure working with you. As always, guys, you can find me on Twitter at Robbie1Kenobi, ROBBIE, the number 1, KENOBI. That's also the same way you spell my YouTube account. Please check out my channel. You know, I'm very passionate about making wrestling videos. I do pickup videos, prediction videos, topic videos. So I'm very passionate about what I do. And please continue to subscribe to Daniel's channel. I can speak English and support him. And yeah, thanks as always, guys, for watching and listening. And Daniel, always a pleasure working with you, man.
Not a problem, Robbie. And thank you all for tuning into this live review. If you're watching it later, remember to leave your comments down below of what you thought of NXT TakeOver Toronto tonight. And remember, I will be back up tomorrow night for my live Survivor Series review. Should be up around 11:15, 11:30, depending on what time the show is over. And remember to click my like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel. And be on the lookout for me in my next video. So that is it, guys. Thank you once again for joining us for this live review. This is Daniel Gaizo along with Robbie1Kenobi. We are signing out, and you all have a great rest of your night. Take care, guys.
Take care.